ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a great day today. At this point of time, I would like to share with you on how I shade eyes. Without further ado, let's start by clicking the layer window here. Next, we will find the base color for the eyeball. For me, it's here. It's in this layer. Now next, I want you to click here, add layer, to make a new layer. Now somewhere on the bottom right corner, you will see clipping. Click this on the newly made layer. Now we will move on to the bottom right corner that says normal. Here, select multiply, not add. I did a mistake here. You can go ahead and close the layer window. Next thing we will do is we will choose the brush. Here, I highly recommend you to use airbrush normal. Because normally, I use airbrush to shade the upper part of the eye. I will adjust the airbrush a little bit and start shading the top part. Make sure your airbrush is in the big size, because if it's small, it will take a longer time for you to shade it. Even with a big airbrush, I still have to do some adjustments. After you're done with this, you open the layer window. Now click add layer here. Click the newly made layer. Click normal and set the blending mode to multiply. With all the steps being followed, you can close the layer window. And now we will open the brush window. Select round brush particle. And then now, start shading the edges of the eyes. Or eyeballs perhaps. For the brush color, you can use the same color for the base color. Do the same to the other eye. Next, we will be opening the brush window. Select pen fade as we will be drawing the pupils. For the eye here, it's a little bit large, so I'm gonna make a large pupil. Also make pupils for the other eye. I'll do some adjustments here because it looks a little bit weird. By the way, for those who will be asking for my canvas size, here is the canvas size I normally use for making edits. Okay, since we're done with the pupils, we can open the layer window. Now, we will click the add layer here. We will click this layer, and we click normal. And in the normal, we will choose not multiply, but this time we will use add. Now, I set the blending mode to add to make the colors brighter. Now, feel free to close the layer window. Now, as usual, we will be moving on to the brush window. By the way, the brush I use here is pen fade. Feel free to adjust the color if needed. Now, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna make a curve. Try your best to avoid shading the pupil in this layer. However, if you accidentally shade a pupil by accident, you can always erase it, like what I did here. Now, we will be using the smudge tool here. In this part, it's better to use a larger size for the smudge tool. Do the same thing with the other eye. I'll speed this one up because the process is exactly the same as what I told you before. Here, I also erase some of the shading that got into the pupil. If the shading is too bright for you, you can always slide down the opacity here. Now, let's add another layer. Next, we will clip it again just like the ones we did before. Now, click normal. Now, slide down till you see add. Keep in mind that we're still using pen fade, just make the brush size smaller. In my opinion, the color doesn't look good here, so I will readjust the color. Now, just like what we did earlier, we're gonna make smaller curves. Also, do the same thing with the other eye. Okay, I personally think this look like 3D eyes. But first, we have to color the pupil. Now, we're gonna repeat the process again. We will again add a new layer. We will clip the layer like what we did before. Go to normal. And find the blending mode add. Now, you may close the layer window. Using pen fade, slowly start to shade the bottom part of the pupil. Also, do the same with the other eye. Next, we will blur the top part of the pupil. For this, I use the blur tool. We will do this to both eyes. Now, I will be changing the drawing color because for me, this looks weird. After this, we will open the layer window. And here, we will adjust the opacity. I'd like to make the bottom part lighter, so here's what I'll do. By clicking this button, I'll add a new layer. Next, we will clip it like we normally do. And then, we will click normal and choose the blending mode add. Now, slowly start making small curves at the bottom of the eye. To enhance it, you can blur the edges. Next, I think this is too bright, so I will lower the opacity just a little bit. Here, I will do some adjustments too. Now, let's add another layer. Now, let's clip the newly made layer. Now here, click normal, and then now we will choose the blending mode add. Next, we will open the brush window. And I will use neon to add. Now, change the color so the color will become red. Now, after you're done with this, you will make 2 tiny dots on top of the pupil. Also, do the same to the right eye. Just make sure that the dots won't be too big for the eyes. And thus, we are done with the general parts. Now for the fun part, adding glitters. Now, let's open the layer window. Next, we will add layer and then we will clip it. And then we go to normal and choose the blending mode add. Now, close the layer window as we will be heading to the brush window. For the sparkles, I use sputtering brush. For this method, feel free to tap randomly on the bottom part of the eye. I'll also do it with the right eye. Feel free to enhance the sparkles by using the smudge tool on the edges. For this step, you can use the same layer as before. I'll add more sparkles using this brush. Brush credit goes to Hamarikyo from Instagram. If this brush doesn't work, you can use marker brush for this one. Now, start tapping this brush slowly, following the curve of the eye. Also, use the same method for the right eye. Now, we will be opening the layer window. Now, let's lower the opacity for about 50%. Now, we tap here. Add special layer, and we will duplicate the layer. And now, we choose filter. Now, we tap on blur. Choose Gaussian blur. Here, the tutorial is done, but if you wish to add some more details, it's alright. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Might be a very little thing to you, but that little thing means the world to me. Well, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!